let's learn a little Linux. And this actually teaches you Unix as well, but nobody uses that anymore. So yeah, let's go. Okay, Linux, Linux, is a free version of Unix, which was an ancient computer kind of operating system. And so the idea of Linux was that it has all the commands, and it was made by a guy called Linus Torvalds, and so it's Linus's Unix, Linux. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, it is how your computer actually works if you have a Mac or if you have any kind of Windows system, or I think maybe even Android is built on it. Basically, everything runs on Unix. The things you think of as your computer, like the little icons and the little folders that open up and, documents that look like a piece of paper, those are all basically a program. It's a thing called a GUI, a graphic user interface, that runs on top of the Linux to make it more friendly. Yeah, for people that get scared by I don't know, black and white text. But yeah, a lot of the bioinformatics servers and tools and tricks and things that we can do, like the really powerful manipulations, all end up being done through Linux. And it's basically, it looks like this. It's a little box, and you type words into it, and it will do whatever you say. So, all right. Here's Linux. First of all, if you want to open it up and play along, you can go to this website. So you can pause this video, type in all of this stuff, and that'll take you to a Linux emulator, which is fine. It doesn't let you save anything because it's just letting you practice commands online. If you actually want to practice commands, and this is the way you do extra credit AC assignment. You would want to get your own Linux that you can actually use. And it's already in your computer. It's just a question of how hard it is to dig it out. So on a Mac OS, and this is the reason I like Macs, it is right there. There'll be a program called Terminal. You can go to the little thing that looks like a magnifying glass. It looks like that up in this corner. And you can click on that and you can type in Terminal, and voila, a little black window like this will appear. And you'll probably have less text than this because I keep messing around with mine. But yeah, you're there. You've done it. Windows, you're going to install a thing called the Windows Subsystem for Linux. Even though Windows is running on Linux, it's a weird, what they call a forked version, where they've taken it and they've made some secret modifications to it, which is very un-Linux, but people do this. And so even though there's Linux there, they don't let you use it because Windows treats you like a baby, which is why I don't like Windows. But you can install this other program that will essentially put a Linux emulator on your computer. And so you'll have this emulator that thinks it's your real computer, and you'll have your Windows system that thinks it's your real computer. They can live together just fine, but that is a way to do it. A little janky, but you know what? It gets there. Yeah. Android, you have to install a program, and whereas WSL is from the Windows Microsoft Corporation, so it's definitely good. One of the good ones looks like Term UX. I have never tried it, but yeah, supposedly you can even install this on an Android phone and type some commands. I don't know that you would have the processor and or battery life and or storage space to be able to do much of anything with it, but if we're just talking, yeah, you want to play around and try stuff, this is how you play around. Yeah. All right, so so that's how you install it. That's our first part. And so here are the topics that we want to go through. So commands, flags, wildcards, the magic dot, and then these are some of the commands that we will go through that you'll need in order to do fairly normal things on your computer. So, all right. First thing you notice when you go to Linux, and let's move this back over so we can see what's going on, is it's going to always tell you where you are and what language you're typing in. You would say, I'm right here, and I don't know, isn't Linux a language? No, yeah. So there are things called interpreters that sit on top of Linux that make Linux more friendly. And this black box with white text is the friendly version. And so these interpreters will take commands and they will turn it into ones and zeros that the computer can actually then go out and execute and do. Yeah. There are several of these. The one that comes installed with Macs is called Z shell, ZSH. The one that I tend to use is called Bash, which is the Born Again shell, which is again a knockoff of something called the Bourne shell from ancient history. You don't have to know ancient history to code. Yeah. Yeah. And so if I want to switch these, I can switch. And so we can go to the C shell, so CSH. Oops. Here you go. In Linux, capitals and small letters are very important, and you cannot confuse the two. If you type a totally sensible command and you have one capital where it shouldn't be, or missing one capital, it will just not run. Other thing about Linux, if it tells you if things go wrong, but it's not going to tell you anything if things are going okay. So if you type a command, Linux will just appear to sit there, and that's actually good. That's just Linux being Linux, and if it can do your command, it just does your command, and when it's done, it'll give you back something like this little $ prompt. If it can't do your command, it'll spit up a whole bunch of error messages that'll show up on screen as little text, like here's the error, here's maybe a way you can fix it if the coder is feeling helpful, yeah, away you go. So the $ means I'm in Bash language. Let's switch to CSH, there we go. And so now it has switched to a %. Now, if your particular Linux emulator doesn't have CSH installed, then that command's not going to work. But if you do, hey, it's fun. And let's change it back to Bash, because I get itchy when we're over in the C shell, which is what CSH stands for. So Bash, there we go. Okay, great. And yeah, my version of Bash is called the Z shell, because why not? Anyway, that doesn't matter. Yeah, so you can switch between languages. The other thing it tells you is where you are, and so it'll tell me that I am in, here we go, that little character right there. You see that little squiggle? Looks like that. That is the secret code for your home directory on Linux. So we can go there just by saying go to squiggle. I mean, it's called a tilde, TILDE. I don't know, German or something. And you can just say go to, yeah, that, and it will take you there. Or you can say, hey, my program is in, and the computer knows right where to look, and it goes and it looks. Yeah. Yeah, and this comes built into pretty much any Linux terminal that you would be able to install. All right, so we got that. We've got, yeah, commands, flags, wildcards, and a dot. All right, so let's try some of these. So what you're going to do is to run any sort of program. Like there are lots of programs that are built in to your shell. And to run it, you say the name of the program. And so there's a program called list. And the way you call it is with ls. So you type ls, and then you just hit return. And what list will do is it'll show you all the things in the place where you are. Now, if you have something like WSL installed, you may see colors for some of these, because I think all of these that it's showing me are folders, and so those get a particular color in certain versions of Linux. It's a thing you can turn on and off. Yeah, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Yeah. So you can also modify the list command with a thing called a flag. So if we do list and let's just say -- help, list and -help. There we go. Actually, list and -man, list and man, list. Well, I forget how to do it on this particular version. Never mind. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it was up here. This is our little usage thing. And oh, here. Is it this? Let's see. Man of ls. There we go. Okay, so man is a command that will open up the manual for another command. Because built into this system, there's a manual for each of your commands. Isn't that crazy? So to run any program, you do like the name of the program. In this case, it's man. And then you tell it what you want it to do. And so I want manual, and then manual program says, okay, manual of what? And then you put a space in there to keep these things separate. And then you say what you want the manual for. So there's the manual for list. And so list can take lots of flags. Look at all these flags it can take. So what this is saying is that basically to use this program, you're going to type ls, you're going to put a space. That's this space right there. And then if you want to, and it's optional, you can put a whole bunch of different flags in there, which is basically all the letters and numbers, and they mean different things. So if you put an @ it will display extended attribute keys and sizes, you know, in the long output, which is -l lowercase. So rather than read through all these things and get amazing at the list command, because you can get amazing at the list command. There we go. All right. We can just try one that I know works. So here's list, and my favorite one is, so to make a flag, you have to have a dash for some programs, you have to have 2 dashes for other programs. This program is a 1 dash program. You find out by doing manual for the program, or you find out by like copying a set of commands like the ones that I provided in assignment AC. Yeah, that'll get you extra credit and teach you a bit of Linux, so why not? So list -LA, so -LA. The -L will list in long form, and so this will show us not just the files but also the sizes. The list -A will list all the files, which includes hidden files. Did you ever install a program and then decide you didn't want it, and then you tried to delete it and it wouldn't go away? It just kept rebooting itself and like putting itself back there after you kept trying to delete it? It probably made one or more hidden files. You can totally see them in Linux, and you can go out and you can destroy them in Linux. And once you destroy those, they're gone. They're gone forever, and that's really nice. So that's the other perk of doing this. You can actually go into your computer, see what's going on, and fix it. Yeah, potentially. I guess you could mess it up if you go deleting things in the wrong places, but regular programs don't install in those wrong places, so it's not really an issue, I don't think. Okay, so list -LA, and there we go. And we've done this twice, I guess. So all of these things are actually files. Now, all of these down here are these are like folders, like directories, where we could go. And if you're working on Mac, Linux, you will probably see the same ones in your home directory. These are the ones that it auto-populates a home directory with. Slightly different in WSL, but a lot of the same things there. All the things with a dot are hidden files, and so those existed. They were right there, and you weren't allowed to see them because, yeah, you're a little baby that needs to be protected. Yeah, so you don't hurt yourself or something. I think that's what they're thinking. So there they are, all the files. So that's the list command, and those things with like a minus and an LA, those are called flags. And the flags modify how the command works. Yeah. Okay, the other thing you can do is you can only list things that have a certain combination. So you can use wildcards in there. So wildcard is a star. So if we do list and then we put a star, it'll list anything. So star means anything. So there we go. And sure, let's allow it. That's fine. Oh, so okay, this is decided to list everything. That's neat. Yeah. So now let's list minus LA, and then I know there are two things in there called documents and downloads. So we can do DO, and a star means that anything that starts with DO and ends with either nothing or something, doesn't matter. We're basically going to ignore it. That's what the star tells you. We're now going to see. And so now we're listing everything in my documents folder and my downloads folder. So list, yeah, because if you list a folder, it's going to show you what's in that folder. Let's list just the hidden files, -A, and we could say, so that's for listing all of them, and we'll list we'll list $, and see if that brings them up. Yeah, and that's brought some of them, including some of my old bash sessions. Neat. There's our .trash.bash sessions .config, and since some of these are also folders, it will actually let you go inside of them. And if you're not allowed to look inside of one of these things, it'll just show you a little error message like that. So yeah, there you go. Okay, that's the list command. That's commands in general. That's flags. That's wildcards. We'll get to the magic dot in just a minute. Now, when you look at your computer, you probably think of it in terms of you have a hard drive, and on the hard drive there are folders. And inside each of those folders are some other folders. Like you have your hard drive, and then you have your personal name folder, like whatever your username is. Then inside of that, you'll have your desktop and your downloads and your documents or my documents folder, like that. That's fine, and that same structure exists. What we call those in Linux are directories, and so we can move between them. So the list command will show you whatever is in the directory where you currently are. And there are ways to make it show you what's in other directories. You just have to tell it exactly where to look, and it'll show you that too. But let's just focus on this. So the command to change from one directory to another is cd for change directory. So that's our next one right here, the cd command. So, okay, let's list, see where we are. Ah, great. So if I'm in a folder, it's showing me these are the other folders that are inside that folder where you are. And so cd will let me go into a folder. So we can say cd to desktop. The other neat thing about Linux, you'll love this, is you can hit the tab key, and if there's a valid way to complete what's there, it just completes it for you. So all I did was type DE, and I hit the tab key, and then because desktop is a choice where I could cd to, change directory to, it just completes it. Yeah. So the tab key will complete any command, file, whatever, if there is a, for file names, if there's a valid file name in the place where you're trying to find that. So it's nice. You save typing and you make sure that it is a valid option. Because Linux will do exactly what you say, but only if you say exactly the thing that you want. Otherwise, yeah, it just sort of shrugs its shoulders and says, no, can't, not there. Yeah, try again. You're wrong. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the desktop, and so cd to desktop and enter. And now if we list, there we go. Now we're on the desktop, and so we have all these other things on here. Great. And so now let's cd back up again, list. All right, looking good. So let's go all the way back. So I'm in these folders that are in my home folder. So let's go up a level. So if we want to go up a level, you cd space and then ... means you go back one level. So you go like one level higher in your tree if you think of a tree as being this way, or you go one level lower in your tree if you think of it as like tree shaped. Yeah. The bottom level of your file tree is called the root. And it's abbreviated as just /. It has its own special symbol. So we can just cd to / and list, and there we go. That's what it looks like. Now, if you're on WSL, I can't remember. It may not let you do that. And so what you can do is you can do cd space ... And so this will go up a level, up a level, up a level, and you can just keep going up a level. It doesn't run into an error when you get to the bottom of your tree. So you can just put a bunch of those in there. Boom. There we go. Okay, and it'll take you to the same place, and so now we're in the / directory. And if you're running WSL, it will actually show you a little / in parentheses to tell you that that's where you are today. So let's list, and there we can see all of our things. So on my computer, all of the things with lowercase letters are things that the Linux uses and needs. And these are mostly going to be places where we're not going to go. The ones you will need will be MNT if you're on Windows subsystem for Linux. And so you could CD to a thing called MNT. That's where like USB drives and other external hard drives go. When you're in WSL, your computer, your Linux computer, thinks it's the real computer, and it thinks your hard drive is like a USB that's plugged into it. Yeah, it's a little confused. But that's how you can go and you can get files from the PC side and bring them to the Linux side. You say cd to mnt slash c drive slash and then you will be on your C drive, and then from there you can go wherever else you need to. Now we can't do that on this one because this one is a Mac and it's not a computer living inside of a computer, it's just a computer. Alright, so what lives in different places? Well, bin is your binaries. Those are the programs that are already compiled, ready to run. Let's see, temp is where it'll put things temporarily and then usually go back and delete them. USR will be things that are for the user, like user-specific stuff. Home directory, that is literally your home directory. So if we do cd to home and list, there we go. Then that home does not have anything in it because I haven't set anything up in my Linux home. Because I am on a Mac, and so that sounds very pretentious. I am on a Mac. Yeah, I apologize. On this computer, my home is in users with a capital U. So we can go cd to users. Let's go back down. I was already in some other folder. There we go. I was in the home folder of my Linux. Now cd to users, and then if we list what's in there, look, so there's one of our admins in the department. No idea who that is lurking in my computer, but probably a different admin, and this is me. So let's go to my folder. So cd, type it right, to bn, and then let's just hit the tab key. It's the easy button. Okay, we could do that in one step. So let's cd back to slash list, show that we're there. Great. Now let's go in two steps. Let's do two jumps in one step. So we can do either cd to squiggle, which is the secret code for slash users slash bnewman on my computer, or slash your home directory on your computer, and that'll take you there. List, and there we are with our downloads and our whatever. We can go cd slash. So now we're back in the root. Now we can do cd. Another way to do it is to cd to users, something that's in the folder. So users slash, and then just remembering, I remember that what's inside users. Oh yeah, it's the bnewman folder. So bne. And if that is correct, then there is a bnewman inside of users, then hitting tab will let me know, yeah, that I got it right. And there you go. So there we are. Now we're back. Fine. So that's the cd command. Next big command, actually let's jump ahead and let's do the make directory command. So cd, actually no, it's list, there we are. So if you want to make a folder, you can just make a folder. So the command is mkdir, which will make a directory, and you put a space, because you always put a space between your command and what you're telling the command to do. Otherwise it all looks like one long command. I mean, yeah, that makes sense, I think. So mkdir, and we could say read depth. Now when you're naming folders, you can put all kinds of spaces and weird stuff in them, but then it becomes very difficult to actually cd to that because there are powerful characters. Things like a space or a slash or certain punctuation marks. And those have to be treated in a weird way. You can still use them, there's a way to do it, but it's an annoying enough process that I would say just use letters. And you can use capital and small letters and numbers, any combination you want, and that's fine. That's the way to go for file naming, I would say. And the shorter you keep your file name, the less you have to type. Every time you want to run it, use it, open it, whatever. Yeah. So make directory called read depth. Let's go. Boom. Just like a good Linux computer, it did what I said, and it says nothing. So let's see. If we do a list, we should have one extra folder now, and there it is. Da-da-da. We made it. And since it's an extra folder, extra directory, we ought to be able to go there. Can you remember the command to go to read depth? To change directory to read depth? cd space re, hit the tab, bam. And there we are, we're inside. And there should be nothing inside, because we just built this. We didn't put anything inside yet. There you go. All right, fine, great. Now we should put something in here, I guess. So let's go back out. So let's find a document and cd. So let's go back one. So that'll take me from read depth back to my home directory, and then from there let's go into documents slash the magic dot. So we might as well talk about the magic dot. Magic dot is for where you want to do something but you don't want to change anything. So documents slash dot means documents slash documents. You can actually not even put the slash dot there. It actually means nothing in this case, but it's a useful placeholder. So we're going into documents, and then dot means let's just stay right there. That's the place to be. So there we go. Run it and list it, and there are some things. So got a whole bunch of viruses here. That's fantastic. So next command will be the copy command, and copy is cp. So cp space the thing you're trying to copy, space the place where you want to copy it. And so let's copy our master hit list, and you see how there are spaces in here? So the way it's got to deal with the spaces is to put in a backslash and then a space. The backslash will tell the computer that something weird is coming and you're going to take it literally, and so this is how it works. This is why we don't put spaces in the names of directories and files if we can help it. Just because it's annoying. But rather than typing that, remember, I just hit the first couple letters, then hit tab, and it auto-completed. So as long as you can autocomplete, maybe it's okay. So let's copy that. And so we'll copy this thing, which exists in the directory where I am, and let's copy it to a different place. So copy can basically move something and make a copy of it. So it's not just picking it up and moving it, it's making a copy that now will be in a different place. And so, you have the power to do this. Just create a file out of nothing by copying an old file. So we'll copy that to, let's see, we can say home directory slash read depth slash dot. Because we don't want to change the name, we just want to put it right here. So there we go. And so now if we go to cd to squiggle slash read depth slash nothing list, there it is. We've made a copy of it, and now it's in read depth. Isn't that great? Yeah. All right. So another thing we can do is the mv command, which is a move command. Now move will not make a copy of it, so you won't have the original anymore. You'll just pick something up and you'll put it in a new place. A lot of times that's what you want, and it's super fast, even for giant files, because it's not really picking up all the bits and moving them to a new place. It's just telling the master directory system, no, that thing you want, it's over here now. Yeah, it's got a different name, but it's still in the same part of your hard drive. So That's what MV does. So we can move and we can change the place. We can move and change the name. We can move and change the name and the place. So the move command is MV, move, MV. Whoop, click on it. There we go. MV. Let's see. Master hit list of blah, 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 blah. Say that title annoys me. And we just want to call it hit list dot xlsx. So this will move the name basically from this name to this name. And so this file will disappear because we're just renaming the file, really. So that's what MV can do. It's a rename command, and it's also a move it from one place to another. To move it to another place, you just say what place you want to move it to. So there you go. List, and now instead of having master hit list of TINA4 viruses, we have a thing that's called hitlist.xlsx. We did it. All right. Say we're tired of this. We can always do the rm command, and that is the remove command. That is like a delete command, and it's permanent, and it has no undo whatsoever, so you gotta make sure you mean it. And the rm command, you can do rm and remove, you know, everything with like an H and then a star, and that'll remove hit list and anything else that starts with an H. Generally, if you're going to do something as drastic as removing with a wildcard, first do a list. And so now we did a list, or a list dash LA, and we can see there's nothing else in there. There's only this file. Yeah. Yeah. So remove will do that. To remove an entire folder, that'll be rm flag rf. So the R is recursive, which means remove everything inside of a folder. The F allows you to actually remove folders, and so we can remove this folder that we made called read depth. Now, right now we're inside the folder read depth, so we can't remove the thing that we're in. We've got to step outside of it before we blow it up. So we can first go back, cd ... now list, and there's our read depth folder. Yeah. Should we get rid of it? Sure. Let's do it. Read depth. All right. So remove space. Let's put the flags next. So dash rf. Woohoo. So we're going to remove read depth and everything inside of read depth. Yeah. It's going to be bad. Or whatever. If we don't need these files anymore, that's great. And then we have to tell it what we want to remove, which is going to be read depth. And I'm going to make sure I only type this one thing because I don't want to go removing other parts. Yeah. By accident. If there's something else that starts with R, which there's not because I did a list command, but it's easy to get going fast and mess stuff up that way. So that's the thing I would try to avoid. Okay. And bam. Should be gone. List. It's gone. See? Read depth used to be here. Now it's gone. All right, last commands you may need. So sometimes you'll try to move something to a place that is one of the protected places. So even in Linux, there are some folders and some locations that will have a layer of protection on there just to stop you accidentally putting something into a folder that is like a key part of the system or something like that. However, you usually can do that by putting this command in front, this sudo command. What it does is it will then do the next command. It basically, it doesn't actually do this, but it has the same effect as basically elevating your authority. You say, yes, I have the power to do this, and it'll say, well, if you have that power, type your password. And so then you'll have to type in your password, then it'll say, okay, all right, now I'll do this. If it was something that's potentially, you know, that it considers dangerous. Like some programs will put on there that, like, no, nobody removes me unless they sudo, and then remove. So a command like that, you could sudo and remove something, or add something, or move something, or copy something. You usually don't need it to CD. CD just works anyway, and list just works anyway. So there you go. Oh, where'd our magic dot go? There's our dot. All right. And dot dot. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Last command in here is chmod. You will need this rarely if you are installing like a program or if you're writing a thing called a script. This can turn a regular text file into something that you can actually run on your computer, which is really cool. And so to see what we've got, you can do ls minus la chmod. There we go. Let's type it in here. ls minus latr. Okay, and so this is just a big version of the ls minus la command, and I just typed that by reflex. Dash la would have given me exactly what you're seeing here, just in a different order. Let's see. All right. So we can go in and we can look at my. Let's look at downloads. So cd to downloads. Actually, yeah, downloads list. Okay, there's a million things in here. All right, and let's go back up. Okay, bam. Okay, so here are all the things. What you can do is you can change these little things at the beginning. So what it's showing you here is it's going in groups. And so the first group is the root group. So this is like the owner of the computer. It might be a system administrator if it's a university computer. It might be you if it's your personal computer. Yeah. And so these are the powers that you would have. So the R is read, the W is write, the X is execute, as in run a program. So it's like read, write, run, but R was already taken for read. So RWX. And so the second one is going to be if you set up a particular group of people. In your case, that's probably not going to be a thing, but if you're working in a big bioinformatics lab, then you could allow other people in the bioinformatics lab to come in and run things from your computer or from a particular folder or file. And the last three over here are for the user, and that's you. That's like you without any sudo powers. And so you can take these things and you can add different features. So like, for example, the file called, the folder rather called public, the directory called public. So the root user can read, write, and execute anything in this folder. The group can read and execute, and you individually can read and execute. If you want to be able to write to the public folder, you have to add W. So you would say chmod, and then for the user, we will add the ability to write to the public folder. And now, if we list -la, it should, nope, didn't change. So there must be something else we need to do. But like if you write a script, you can write it just as a little document that has all your commands in it. And then the command you're going to do that will turn that into a real live script that you can run is going to be chmod. For the user, add the execute command. And I think probably it didn't allow me to do that because I was not set up as the root user. Probably if I did it with sudo, it would have let me do that. But in this case, it just said no and didn't even tell me. So isn't that neat? Chmod u+x, and then the name of your script. So it'll be like script.sh is usually what people use for little program scripts. And then bam, you'll turn this into a thing that you can actually execute and run. So that's kind of the basics of Linux. So you got your commands, which are things like this. You got your flags. You got your wildcards, which lets you do a command with anything that starts, ends, or starts and ends with something in particular. You can put a star in the middle. You can put a star at the beginning and the end to just look for a thing that has a particular middle. Yeah, whatever. You can use it creatively and do exactly what you want. So there you go. That's your little Linux tutorial. We'll do one more bit where I actually walk you through some of the commands that we're going to use on the extra credit, and yeah, then you will be at least somewhat initiated in the world of Linux. Yeah, it's going to take practice to get good at this. The beautiful thing about Linux, they have this culture where it's like figure it out on your own, but there are so many web forums and places. Any problem that you are having, somebody else has already had, and there are probably a number of ways to fix it. And so you just Google like the exact error message and what you were trying to do, and there will be a thread on some message board somewhere that will have the answer to what you're trying to do. And so that's how you figure out how to fix problems all by yourself in Linux. There you go. All right, so happy Linuxing, and yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty powerful. You can make things exist. You can make them no longer exist. Yeah, you can do stuff that you can't do on your regular computer, and a lot of the programs that we need run through this. Programs that will do image analysis, programs like Blast, you can run it through command line like this. Yeah, programs like FastQDump, which apparently I haven't installed. So I'll go install that, and then we'll talk. Thanks.